We're the Thomas House Temporary Shelter team. I'm Shelby Sandberg.
I'm Jackie Bradburn.
I'm Mallory Jones.
And I'm Tom Sauer.
We're going to start off with the background of Thomas House Shelter. It was founded by Bertie and Mary Self in 1986. It's been around for over 26 years. It has a 7-step program, which it's really well known for. The main focus is to get families moved out of the homeless shelter and have them be successful on their own and be self-sufficient. So 95% of the participants graduate from the program and 81% move into their own homes in Orange County. The programs, there are several that are offered to residents, and the Thomas House is funded by government programs and donations by individuals, foundations, and corporations. The programs offered start with case management, so they identify the problem within each family. Then they have therapy to ensure emotional and mental health. There are life skills programs that include goals, financial management. There's a career center for residents to go to for employment counseling. There's also parenting skills, drug and alcohol abuse counseling. There is also children's programs since it's family oriented. It focuses on tutoring, arts and crafts. They also have child care services for parents. They encourage parents to be working. It's actually a requirement for the Thomas House, so they have child care services for those families. They also have supplemental food and clothing distribution throughout the year, so they have drives at certain points of the year to get supplies and food to families. Their main forms of outreach are events and social media, so they use Facebook and Twitter consistently to get to their audience. They also have annual events starting with the 5K walk and run-a-thon. They have an Easter event for the kids, so they have an Easter egg hunt. They all get a little basket for the day. They have a painting at Thomas House work day, where they redo some of the apartments, paint all of them so it feels more like a home for the families. They have autumn reflections, and this past year was a Monte Carlo night. They actually raised $48,000. They have a Halloween party for the kids, Thanksgiving feast for the families, and they have an adoptive family for the holidays. So each of the kids in the families get a present.
All right, I'm Jackie. I'm going to tell you about the SWOT analysis. To start out with our strengths, one of the really big strengths that Thomas House has is that it is supported by local members of the community already. Granted, it doesn't have the biggest following, but it does have a following that we can work with. Also, it has a seven-step process, as Shelby had mentioned, which will rehabilitate people staying there and hopefully put them onto a better track in life that they can sustain. Next is the previous and continued success of past residents, as we mentioned before. There's a very high success rate. So it has it's for a good cause, and it is supporting a lot of families that need it. Our weaknesses. Part of the weaknesses is a limited budget that's available. It's hard to maximize our reach to the community if there's not any money to work with. So we've been really working hard at organically getting the message out there with as little money spent as possible. Also, another weakness is they're incredibly poor, at the beginning, was their poor use of social media. Caused a limited reach, as I mentioned before. So that is one of their weaknesses. Also, for opportunities, we have the chance to build partners within the community, and we also have the chance to increase the reach by driving traffic to the Thomas House websites and Facebook pages. For threats, we also want to raise brand awareness. And moving on to threats, there's inconsistent communication between the followers of the organization and the people who are in charge of it. So we wanted to help increase that communication. And also the writing skills used in the letters of sponsorship that were being sent out were very poorly written. So that was kind of hard to get your message across if you're not communicating effectively. So we wanted to help them with that as well. So moving on to goals. Our team was focusing on 4 main goals for Thomas House over the course of the semester. We wanted to raise awareness of Thomas House as a message because I feel that it's not very well known outside of its community that's already established, so we just wanted to expand that far and beyond what it is right now. We also wanted to help facilitate partners between Thomas House and local businesses, organizations, as we mentioned before, to increase the amount of support that is going to the shelter. Also, we wanted to increase awareness of events, as Shelby mentioned, that we have a ton of events that have happened over the course of the semester, and just there was a very poor communication between Thomas House and people they're trying to reach for the events. So we wanted to really help increase that and get it out in a better way that's just more straight to the point. So that, and we also wanted to help the client become more proficient at creating their own media and being able to sustain that, because we help them with a lot of things like flyers and whatnot, and that's something they can learn to do themselves, and so we wanted to help them learn to do that and sustain that after we left. So those were our goals. Moving on to
So for the key publics, Thomas House welcomes anyone to donate, participate, volunteer to benefit the residents that live there. For the future, Thomas House needs to focus on the target publics needed to help develop lifetime partnerships, raise awareness, and be part of successful events. The target publics include companies that we are already connected with, like Bank of America, OC United Way, and individuals that already do donate and volunteer there. But we do need to start working on new companies and foundations that could potentially donate large lump sums that could really, really help Thomas House, and also local businesses and families in the area that might not know about Thomas House and could definitely donate and volunteer. The message for these specific key publics was info on Thomas House and what sets them apart, like the 7-step process, and how donors and sponsors can get involved. This can only continue to help the progress for Thomas House. And now on to Thomas about strategies and tactics.
All right, I'm Thomas, as you all know. I'm going to start us covering the strategies here. So for Thomas House, we thought one big thing was to start with creating sponsorships, right? It's a nonprofit. We needed to facilitate a good relationship between the local community and businesses that could possibly donate or build some kind of a relationship. We found that to be a little more challenging, but it was still fairly successful. We also really wanted to focus in on social media presence. We found that we saw that as being one of the more feasible avenues for us to take. Alongside that, we wanted to raise awareness for any upcoming events. As Shelby had said earlier, Thomas House is big on their events. That's one of the biggest ways they get donations, they get awareness. So that was going to be kind of something we would be, centralized around. And finally, we wanted to teach Thomas House and their staff how to use the design programs such as Adobe InDesign and Adobe Photoshop, so they could produce their own in-house media flyers and et cetera, so they wouldn't have to be hiring external agencies to produce medias and flyers for them. Now moving on to tactics and tools. Initially, our goal, we wanted to increase the Facebook likes by 5% through consistent updates. That was kind of our tactic for raising awareness through social media. We also wanted to contact local businesses to help with donations for the workday. We also wanted to work on increasing the number of registrations by local outreach and contacting running groups. We had contacted about 8 running groups throughout the course of the semester, throughout the local community, because we figured, if you're trying to reach a marathon, demographic, what better way than a running group? Alongside of that, we also created a donation request letter, which we used and we passed out to local businesses for the workday. And we felt this to be a good tool because it created not only some sense of professionalism, but it made Thomas House, it gave off a better vibe for them to the local businesses that we were reaching out to. And as I said, we also taught the employees how to successfully use the design software. I'm going to move us on to the measurement, assessment, and evaluation of success. For the marathon, which was one of the biggest events in our opinions, we signed a total of 375 participants. Now initially there was 50 participants. They wanted us to reach about 100. We were able to reach 375 through local outreach, just kind of getting involved with the community, getting in touch with running groups. So we found that to be a very successful outcome for that event specifically. We also had a pretty successful work day. It was very hard for us to facilitate actual business, relationships, more or less, permanent relationships, I should say. But we were able to get donations. Bear donated all the paint for the work day, which was an amazing opportunity for Thomas House to have that kind of worked out with Bear paint products. We also increased their social media presence to 50% as opposed to 5%, which was our initial goal. We we did that pretty much just through consistent updates, trying to really become interactive with the Thomas House community. And it honestly really paid off. It was one of the biggest outcomes for us. We didn't expect to get such a positive feedback from the social media presence. And overall, I would say we had a fairly successful campaign. You know, there are certain things that we had trouble with reaching in, but you know, working with a nonprofit, we found there to be many obstacles that you may not come across maybe working with a paid client who may give you more resources and things like that. But we're very satisfied with the outcome of the campaign. And now Shelby's going to go ahead and wrap us up here.